Welcome, Dawn. Thank you for joining today.
Hello, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Uh, you're originally from Wales in the UK, and then you've moved around quite a bit to study in different places. So, would you like to start off by telling us about that?
Yeah, sure. Yes, I'm from a little place in South Wales, in the South Wales Valleys called Mountain Ash. And
Right.
I was born and brought up there and went to school there. Kind of loved that. Wales is always going to be my home. And
Yes.
then when I was 16, I moved to Manchester to study at Cheetham School of Music with
Oh yeah.
Alicia Fidikevich,
Wow.
which was absolutely fantastic. Some of the best years of my life. And yeah, I was this kind of little Welsh girl suddenly in the big city with loads of people who were amazing at playing the piano. I didn't
Yeah.
quite know what to do with myself. So I spent a few years in Manchester. I came back to Cardiff for a little while. It was nice to be kind of close to home again. And yeah, I moved to London. Oh, it must be, I don't even know, like 10, 12, even more years ago, 15 years ago, to go to the Royal College of Music with Julian Jacobson.
Oh yeah.
And I've been in London kind of working ever since. I live just slightly outside of London now, as people tend to do when they get to my age, move slightly out of the city. But
Right.
yes, that's where I am now, and I've been here for quite a while.
Great. Yeah. So I told you when we started talking a few weeks ago that I did see you perform once in Cardiff in St David's Hall.
I
Um,
know, man, that must have been years ago.
Yeah, and that was with the Cardiff Philharmonic Orchestra, if I remember,
Yeah,
playing Rhapsody in Blue.
they are amazing guys. The Cardiff
Yeah,
Philharmonic Orchestra. They're just such good friends. It feels like God. It feels like so many years ago that happened. But yeah, I did a couple of concertos with them, and it's such a small world that you happen to be in the audience. But
yes.
Rhapsody in Blue, one of my favourites. Gershwin is one of my favourite composers. But I hope you enjoyed it. I must have been quite young. Hope it was okay.
Yeah, I remember it was a really nice concert because they played other music like Bernstein as well, and I think more Gershwin during the
Oh,
program as well.
fantastic!
So that was
Are you a big Gershwin fan as well?
yes. Yeah, I love to
Me too. I
play,
love that.
and I've been fortunate as well to play that piece with orchestra, and it's so fun to do as well.
It's so much fun, and I love
Yeah,
playing with orchestra. Generally, I love like in a solo capacity as a concerto soloist. That is just so much fun to do. But yeah,
yeah.
Rhapsody in Blue is one of my favorites. But the concerto in F as well is also another one of my favorite ones to do.
Yeah, and I seem to remember you played that as well a few times, didn't you? Around that
I
time.
did, yeah. I think I
Yeah.
did that in St David's Hall as well.
Oh
I
wow.
love playing in St David's Hall because it feels like it's just home because so many
Yes.
things have happened there. So yeah, I did. Yeah, I did do bringing back memories now.
That's lovely. So you mentioned a couple of your teachers already. I know both of them. And would you do you have any other like big influences as well as them that helped
Oh
you
my word!
while you were?
Any other
Yes. Yeah.
big influences? So, well, obviously, my teachers. So there was Alicia when I went to Chet, and
Yes.
she has been a massive influence on my life because, as I said before, I was just this kind of clueless little girl from the valleys who just had. I played the piano and I suddenly ended up in Cheetham's and I wanted to go to music college and play the piano for a living and I didn't have a
Yeah.
clue how to do that. So Alicia kind of, put her head in her hands and went, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to kind of drag you through this." So she did. She taught me loads of stuff. She's very Russian school,
Oh yeah.
um,
Of course.
as you know. So she
Yeah.
taught me so much and got me through college auditions and things like that. And I've also studied with Richard McMahon and Philip Martin
Yeah.
when I was in Cardiff. Both of those guys are amazing. And Philip especially was great because he was a composer and he started getting me into. I don't compose myself, but
Right.
getting me into playing music by people I know. And oh, you've got some great pieces. Maybe I'll do some of your pieces, and instead of the kind of standard repertoire, so to speak.
Yes.
And then yeah, I came to London, and Julian's fantastic. He absolutely cracks me up. And again, he composes and he does these crazy projects, and
Yes.
just they're all kind of performing pianists, which is which is great. So I've taken kind of something from each one of those.
Okay, and do you find you prefer to play music by composers that play because obviously they might write better for the hands as well?
I mean, there's always how do I answer that? There's always that. Yes,
Yes.
composers who play the piano themselves know the limitations.
Yeah.
But then, because I work quite a lot with composers, I find the ones who don't play themselves are really, really open to having you tell them things. You know, what doesn't
Yeah.
work? Why doesn't that work? How can you do that? How can you get into the piano and stand up and to do some prepared stuff? Have your foot on the pedal? Do kind of
Yes.
acrobatics? Everyone is kind of really, really open to being told that doesn't quite work. Maybe try this instead and things like that. So I actually love doing that. I actually love having kind of one-to-ones with composers about things. Oh, I'm finding this really difficult. Maybe that's just my hands. Maybe my hands are smaller and
Yes.
things like that. Great having those type of conversations.
Oh, that's great. So you, after doing a lot of solo performances with orchestra, and I guess you did some recitals early on as well. You
Yeah,
told me then that you changed your kind of career to more collaborative performances.
absolutely. It was. I think by the time I'd got to my masters at the Royal College, I was just feeling kind of more sociable. I don't know,
Yeah.
I felt like I'd kind of done the whole 6 to 8 hours sitting by yourself in a practice room, and I wanted to be just part of something bigger. And of course, whilst playing the piano in a solo capacity, there's a wealth of things, so many things you can do. Obviously, if you open that up to different instrumentalists and different people,
Yeah.
then there's no end to the type of things that you can do and the type of projects you can put on and the type of repertoire you can play. So I started getting a bit more interested in kind of working with other people as well as the social aspect of it. Not so much accompanying. I wouldn't say an accompanist, even though I've done my fair share of that, as I'm sure we all have.
Yes.
It was more kind of, project based, going a bit crazy, lots of different instruments, and then I got asked to play with some orchestras, and I kind of thought, oh, this is what I like, just being with lots of other people, and of course then you've got the added bonus of having these amazing conductors come in and work with you, and that's
Yes.
an
Yeah.
absolute skill by itself. So just and then you get to be able to play in these amazing halls, kind of all over the world that you potentially wouldn't have the opportunity to as a solo pianist. So I
Yes.
felt
Yeah.
that kind of opened up another realm for me. So I
Okay.
decided, yeah, I kind of switched, and I still keep a little bit of my solo work as and when it comes in, but yeah, I kind of went down the more collaborative route.
Yeah, and I guess it's very different to like when you play a concerto because when you're the soloist, you do get some sort of input into the way the conductor's gonna work. But when you're in the orchestra, you just have to follow whatever they say,
Yeah, yeah,
basically,
of
don't
course
you?
it's not your interpretation,
Yeah,
absolutely not. It's whoever's on that podium, it's his interpretation. But generally, you find theirs is quite good
yeah,
most of the time. So yeah, you don't have input in that way, but you have input in kind of making your part as good as it can be, and how to kind of blend that with everyone else
yes.
and things like that. So yeah, it's a really different skill.
Okay, and are there any particular orchestra works with piano that you enjoy playing most of all?
I I love the big ones. I love things like Petrushka and the
Yeah,
Firebird, um, possibly just because I love Stravinsky anyway.
yes,
I love doing Strauss Bourgeois Gentilhomme, which is kind of as I love contemporary music. I mean, that's totally in the other way, but
yes.
that's got this tremendous piano part and a chamber string section. That one's so great, and then I absolutely adore John Williams and doing film music concerts.
Oh yeah.
There's never, I'm never without a flutter in the stomach when I suddenly have to play, the opening of Harry Potter on the Celeste in the middle of the Royal Albert Hall. That
Oh
one,
wow.
that was always, gets you going a little bit. So I adore kind of film music and things like that. Or Shostakovich symphonies, they're also great.
Yes.
And then the more contemporary you go, I suppose, with orchestral works, the more contemporary you go, the more piano there is in there. So that's always something to get your teeth stuck into.
Great. So you are the director of the Piano Circus as well, which is an ensemble. So would you like to tell us about them?
Yeah, sure. So Piano Circus is, as you say, an ensemble of six pianists.
Yeah.
And obviously that sounds quite crazy, but it's completely true. I joined Piano Circus. The actual ensemble itself is now 32 years old. And
Okay.
obviously it's changed. Yeah, it's changed personnel.
Yes.
It was founded actually by a composer called Max Richter, who you've probably heard of, a
Yes.
very well-known composer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of kept going, even though the personnel have changed over the years. So I joined, I think, in 2008, and it's absolutely amazing. So it's all kind of contemporary music, and it's usually pieces that we have commissioned as an ensemble
Yes.
for six pianos. So again, I've got to work with some amazing, amazing people, amazing composers on music for six pianos, which is no mean feat.
That's great. And at the end of this interview as well, for those watching, I'm going to play a short clip Dawn gave me of Piano Circus. So hang around to listen to that as well. Now you've, is it with Piano Circus, you've toured around quite a lot of different countries
Yeah, we
as
went
well?
to we've toured the US a couple of years ago. We've toured through Italy, and last year we were in South Korea for a
Oh
while,
wow.
which was amazing. And
Yeah.
we were supposed to go back there this year. Unfortunately, we couldn't.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be in Greece at the end of this year. Unfortunately, we couldn't. Yeah, so I have travelled around a bit with those guys, and people seem to like it. It's
That's
really, we
great.
play lots of kind of minimalism and lots of
Yes.
Reich and Terry Riley and Graham Fitkin and really kind of up to date funky stuff like that.
That's good. And how do you find it logistically when you have to organise places with the pianos and everything like
It's an
that?
absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
I have fallen out with many a piano tuner over my years.
Oh wow.
we have um, we have two setups, so we can do. We have an acoustic setup. We
Yes.
also have what we rehearse on in Brunel University here because we're artists in association. We have
Okay.
an electric setup,
Yes.
which is obviously much easier, and we can take that around with us. So we can go, excuse me, and do places, perform at places that don't have obviously six pianos, because
Yeah.
where it does, it tends to be kind of institutions, universities and music schools and things like that have six pianos.
Oh yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
so the electronic setup is not bad at all. We have to work with a sound engineer and things like that. So that's been quite a learning curve since I joined, just finding out about all the tech. Acoustic setup, yes, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's also very, very, very expensive. You have to get them moved and set up, and
Yes.
then you have to get the poor
Because
piano technician.
I'd imagine even just two pianos is a lot of work to set up. So when you've got more than that,
Yeah, of
can
course.
be.
And because we play such kind of intricate rhythmic music, we're all usually monitored as well. So there is an aspect of technology even in the acoustic
Oh yeah.
concerts. But I try to, when people kind of put the feelers out towards me, I try and say, it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. But I feel like it's worse on the poor piano technician trying to get six pianos in tune with one another.
Yeah. Great. So you recently you've been doing a lot of activities during the lockdown, and I know have you got a performance that's going out tomorrow?
I
Is that
do.
right?
I have a performance going out on the Royal Albert Hall website. It's one of
Right.
their classical for kids recitals.
Okay.
So they asked me to do that, and they are using the hashtag Royal Albert Home. So it's a series of everyone
Yes.
doing their recitals from their home. So that is going out live on the Albert Hall website tomorrow at 2 p.m. And
Yes.
then you'll be able to get it um, on demand on the website. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
lockdown was quite tough at first. I found it
Yes.
because I wasn't used to being at home. That was it. I just wasn't used to it, and I really struggled. So
Yeah.
I started feeling this huge disconnect with the piano. You know, I'd come and try and practice, and I'd be good, and I'd pull up my series of Bach preludes and fugues and my Ravel and my Lord knows what and my exercises, and I'd sit down and try and practice and think, absolutely, what's the point? What is the point of doing this? So I came up with an idea, and I put a little call out on Facebook a few
Yeah.
weeks ago saying if there are any composers out there who want me to play some of their stuff, if you have something that's not been played before, or you have some ideas you want realised, or anything, you know, send me over your stuff, and I'll make you a little video. I'll learn some of it, and I'll make you a little video. And I kind of got inundated
Oh
by
yeah.
all this tremendous music that people sent me. So I'm super grateful, and I'm kind of wading my way through it as quickly as I can. And trying to learn some, and then do some little videos. So I think I've done about 5 pieces so far, and again, that's been wonderful for me because I love playing. As I've said, I love playing music by composers who I can work with. So I've
Yes.
been
Yeah.
doing kind of Zoom rehearsals with them, and yeah, I'm going to make some little videos and put them out. So it's been super fun, and it's got me back into, you know, it's got me back connected with the piano after, you know, so many months of doing nothing.
Yeah, it's good to have that, of course, to be motivated to work towards. And do you think the future will have a lot more of performances taking place online as well as the regular ones when they start up again?
I really do. I really think that is going to happen. I don't know. I can't predict in kind of which shape or form, but I do think that a lot of things are going to stay online even. So
Yes.
it's a case of kind of trying to survive really, and trying to learn about these things. You know, how do you record yourself at home? Because
Yes.
I've never had to do things like that. So I've had to learn about microphones and setups and
Yes.
lighting
Yeah.
and logic and, you know, all that kind of stuff, which has been really daunting, really daunting. And I was like, I just play the piano. I didn't
Yeah.
didn't know I'd have to work with all this stuff, but I'm definitely kind of, you know, getting au fait with iMovie and things like that. And I'm going to keep going because, yeah, I do believe that we're going to see a lot more things happening
Yes.
online. It's going to be our new normal.
And I think there as well, looking on the bright side, there's probably going to be more opportunities for musicians to make a living as well, because we could, for example, like do a live concert, but you could combine the online audience with the real audience there as well.
Yeah, that's a
So
really good idea. I'm sure
yeah,
there's loads of options there. I think it's just we're going to have to learn as not just pianists. I mean, all musicians. We're going to
yes,
have to learn how to be quite savvy about this and
yes,
kind of quite entrepreneurial. And
yeah,
you know, how can we do this? Or we retrain
yeah.
and we do something else completely. But I just can't. I can't bring myself to even think about that at the moment. I can't do that. I'd rather try the kind of savvy monetary option first.
Yes, sure, yeah. So you've worked with lots of let's say high profile musicians, and one you mentioned to me was Evelyn Glennie. So
Yes.
do you want to tell us about that experience?
Yeah, oh my word, that was amazing. It was quite a few years ago now, and I suddenly got a phone call and someone said to me, "Can you play this double piano, amplified piano and percussion concerto
Oh yeah,
by a New Zealand composer called John Sarthis?" And I thought, okay, I've never heard of John Sarthis. Amplified piano and percussion sounds right up my street.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely, I'll do that. And I was super happy to be booked for a couple, 2 or 3 performances of that specific concerto, I think. And then
Okay.
someone said, "Oh, so the percussionist is going to be Dame Evelyn Glennie," and I kind of went, "Oh my word,
Yeah,
oh my word, really? That's okay." So I learned this piece, which is absolutely fantastic. It's called View from Olympus.
oh yeah,
Absolutely wonderful. And I got in the car and I drove up to Dame Evelyn's house, and
yes,
we had some rehearsals. And I mean, she is an absolute delight. She's an absolute delight, as well as a completely fantastic musician. And I thought, she'd be thinking, "Oh, what am I doing playing with this girl? Who is this girl?" And we just clicked right from the word go, and we had the same ideas, and we rehearsed just in this really kind of animated, amazing way. We both had ideas. She took mine, I took hers, and it was absolutely excellent,
Yes.
Absolutely loved it. Really fell in love with the idea of piano and percussion. Kind of, I dabbled in it before, but kind of from that stage onwards. And then afterwards, she called me a few times and was like, "Can you come and accompany me here, there?" And she has a regular accompanist that she works with all the time. But whenever maybe he wasn't available, you know, I'd get a call. Can you come and do the one show with me? Can you come and do this with me?
Well, yeah.
Can you come and do like Proms Plus with me? So it's been a really lovely relationship, and I hope we work more together in the future.
Yeah, I'd love to see that as
It's
well.
really exciting. I think the piano and percussion thing is really really exciting.
That's great. So you do a lot of projects for education as well with the piano circus and in other areas. So how have you found that over the years?
Yeah, I do a lot of education type things. I work with a lot of orchestras as in a freelance capacity. So
Oh yeah.
I've done I've done lots of kind of orchestral education projects. Everything from a very recent one, which was early years, which was 0 to 2, children 0 to 2, which was
Yeah.
a bit of an eye opener. And then your kind of usual key stage one, key stage two things. One of the most exciting ones that I've ever been part of was in a maximum security prison,
Oh wow.
which was last year, I think. It was absolutely fantastic, it was run by Britain Symphonia and the amazing Mr. Jason Rowland in charge of that particular one. Really strange and exciting.
Yes.
I have my teaching, my usual kind of studio teaching.
Yes.
Lots of projects with piano circus. Yeah, lots of things. I'd go around in different schools and universities and do kind of composition masterclasses, how to compose for six pianos,
Oh
or
yeah.
take examples of our repertoire and go, this is what you do, and do workshops and things like that, which I absolutely love doing. I work at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama again as a freelancer,
Okay.
uh, and I run their piano and percussion project that they do every year, which has been fantastic. So we've been doing some Steve Reich, and we did some John Passathis, and we recently did Bartok Sonata for two pianos and percussion. So I've been down coaching those things, and most recently I am the orchestral keyboard tutor for the National Youth Orchestra of Great Britain, which
Oh
I'm
great.
very proud of. So
Yeah.
so yes, lots of things been going on.
And I guess have you had to switch to teaching online as well during the lockdown, like most
Yes,
or
I have.
everyone really?
Yeah, yeah, I have. I've been doing it on Zoom or FaceTime. I won't
Yeah.
say I found it easy. I found it really quite difficult. I mean, apart
Yes.
from just the sheer screen time in your face
Yeah.
all the time. It depends on the age of the children you're teaching. I mean, they were all going a bit crazy in lockdown, as were we, trying to get concentration
Yes.
and things like that. When they're really excited that you're in their house and they want to show you around, and
Oh
they
yes.
want to see their dog and their cat and things like that. So I found it difficult, but it's been necessary. And actually, I think it is a really good way of teaching. I mean, you can get a lot of things across, providing you've got your stable internet connection and your good
Yes.
sound. Then it is actually a good way of teaching, and I really think that that is going to people are just going to stay online for a while.
Yeah, so I was doing that before the lockdown actually, but I can imagine it was a big learning curve for lots of people because they had to do it very quickly,
Really
really.
quickly. So you were doing
Yeah,
online teaching before.
yeah. Because short story, I'm from the UK, but I live in Brazil now, and I had some students from the UK that continued with me when I moved here. I got married here to a Brazilian. So
Amazing.
yeah, so I've been in an ironic way. I was kind of ready for what happens on that side, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But it isn't. I mean, it is enjoyable. The first few weeks were tough.
yes,
Um, they were tough, and there was also this weird thing that I felt like I needed to shout at them across the internet as well. So after a day's worth of teaching, I come out with a bit of a headache and a really sore throat. So it takes some getting used to, but I quite enjoy
yes,
my online teaching now.
yeah, and then we have to. I guess we have to balance what we do online, then like watching Netflix or YouTube as well, and then we have the teaching and everything else
Yeah, so it's
as
the
as well.
screen time is tough. I do find the
Yes.
screen time quite tough. But and especially if you're doing a little project on the side, you're recording a video. I mean, everyone, people who ask you to do these remote recordings and record these videos and things, and you kind of lap them up. You go, yeah, sure, absolutely, I'll do that. Not really realizing that how long it takes you to record a video or do
Yes.
something
Yeah.
like that. It's very different to live, of course. You know, if you're playing live and you split a note or you hit a wrong note or something, there's nothing you can do. You just carry on. But of course, if you do that, you have to go back and do it again and again and again and
Yes.
again. So things take in this kind of online space that we're in, I think things take a lot longer.
Yeah. So, what what future plans do you have once venues start opening for concerts again, and we can go out more and perform in places?
Oh my word. Do I have plans? Is it good to plan at the moment? I'm
Yeah.
crossing my fingers and keeping super positive that venues are going to open really, really soon.
Yes.
I want to continue. I would love to be able to continue to pick back up where I left off. I'm not sure if that's a silly thing to say at the moment, but
Yes.
I adore working with orchestras and doing education projects and working for National Youth Orchestra of Great Britain. I adore working for Pianist Dawn Hardwick. I was really lucky in that I had this kind of portfolio career that I absolutely adored. I just
Yes.
absolutely adored every second of it and all the different things I was doing. You know, even driving through the night and eating petrol station sandwiches 3 times a day. You know, things like that. I absolutely adored it.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is what I'd like to do. You know, I felt so lucky thinking that, you know, I've studied really hard. I've come up with some good ideas. I've done this. I've worked my backside off, and I've got, you know, nearly to where I want to be. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and then of course this has happened, and all I can hope is that there's going to be some kind of normality back.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's I'm you know at the moment we're just sitting it out, aren't we, and waiting to see
It's a
what
tough
happens.
one because a lot of venues need really a full concert booked to make money before they start paying musicians as
Absolutely,
well and all that stuff as well.
yeah, absolutely. Of course, they need bums on seats, as we say, in order to
Yeah.
make some money. And without getting political, you've got to pray that well, we've had some funding, obviously. The arts have had some funding, but let's
Yeah.
hope that we don't, we get what we deserve, shall I say?
Yeah. So I've noticed in the comments there's a question from Stephen Soenlen. I don't know, Soenlen. Sorry if I said that
Oh,
wrong.
Stephen! Yes, I know Stephen.
Yeah, and I think this is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek question. He said, "I'm reading through the Well-Tempered Clavier and wondering would Dawn recommend red or white wine to help me find the right fingerings?"
Absolutely. It actually depends. I feel it depends more on the weather as to which Prelude and Fugue you're on, Stephen.
Yes.
I think I would recommend in this weather a nice crisp white to go along with those fingerings. I'm quite well known for practicing left hand Brahms exercises with a glass of wine in my right hand
Oh, I
at
see.
certain.
Yeah,
Great question.
I thought there was a reason for that question. No.
Yeah, Stephen knows me.
Great, and I've actually got a couple of questions from John Roberts, who we both know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
and
Hi, John.
I don't know if he's watching live because he messaged me earlier on because he said he might not be able to make it. So I've got two questions. The first one: what would be your desert island disc list?
It would be number one, my absolute favourite, Music for 18 Musicians by Steve Reich. It's
Yeah,
just such a wonderful piece. It's mind blowing. I have adored performing that one, and hope that I get many more opportunities to perform that one. I absolutely adore it. Steve Reich, Music for 18 Musicians. I would definitely go for. I'd have to have some form of Petrushka, possibly from the Philharmonia,
yes,
um, something like that, and some form of Shostakovich symphonies, some kind of big orchestral works. Even with big orchestral works, I always love Tchaikovsky, the Tchaikovsky symphonies,
yes,
and things
yeah,
like that. I would take definitely some Bach preludes and fugues. And I would take Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto played by Richter.
Oh yeah,
That's my absolute favourite recording of that. So I think that might see me
yes.
through.
That's the one I actually listened to growing up. That recording
Me
as well.
too. That was mind blowing.
Okay, so then there's another question from John. And anyone who's watching, if you want to ask Dawn a question, just put it in the comments, and then I'll have a look and ask her. So the other question from John: where in the world would you like to perform that you haven't performed so far?
Hmm. 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 That's a tough one. Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
I performed in New York, but I've never performed in Carnegie Hall. I would absolutely love to do that. I mean, that's iconic, isn't it?
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's going to have to be that one.
That's great. Yeah, and that would, I think everyone would love to play there, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Generic answer there, sorry, John, but it is. Yeah, absolutely. I think I've done most of the ones in this country, and I mean, my favourite place to play is actually the Royal Albert Hall. It's just so beautiful and stunning. But yeah, Carnegie Hall would be way up there.
That's great. So yeah, I've got one more question for you, really, and it's which do you have any favourite composers that you like to play?
I do. I do. Steve Reich is one of my absolute favourite composers. I played quite a lot of his music. I absolutely adore him. I think he's wonderful. One of my other favourite composers is a person I've already mentioned here. It's a guy called John Passathis, who is a New Zealand composer with Greek heritage. So he has this kind of amazing ethnic flair into his music, which is it's like a mixture of rock and roll and minimalism and crazy rhythmic, beautiful things. So he's written for Piano Circus, and I played his concerto, as we've talked about already. And actually, one of his solo piano works is in the Albert Hall recital that's going to come out tomorrow. So definitely, I would say to everyone, definitely look up John Passathis.
Okay.
He's a really great one. Really exciting.
That's great. So if anyone here watching, as I'm sure they will, wants to see your performance tomorrow, where can they go to access that and watch live or watch the replay?
That will be on the Albert Hall website. So if you go on the Albert Hall website and click on the home sessions, that one should pop up at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and then I think it's immediately archived, so the page will still be there, and you can just watch that whenever you'd like. And it's that obviously that one is aimed at our younger generation, but I've done a recital of new music, so the music is actually really sophisticated, so I think it would appeal to a lot of people, really.
That's great, and I've heard from one of the composers, Julian Jacobson, that you played one of his works. Is that right?
Yes, I am playing one of Julian's little pieces in tomorrow's recital.
That's great, so I look forward to that.
He's first up, and it's a very, very beautiful little waltz, but I won't tell you anymore. You can be surprised by it. Julian's, I mean, his knowledge of harmony and his colours and things like that, and his compositions are fantastic.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, Dawn. So thank you so much for your time
My
today.
pleasure. Thank you for having me. I hope it was everything you wanted.
Yeah, and thank you everybody who has been here watching live, and to the replay viewers. And now I'm going to play a short clip of the Piano Circus to see us out. So thank you again, Dawn.